friendship that'll never ever end.
Run!
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Reaction Beanie Yo 412. Day in the neighborhood. My brothers and sisters, it is official. Blow the whistle. From now on, for the foreseeable future, every Friday, we're going to check out a video from this man right here. And that man that I'm talking about is Adrian from Coffeehouse Crime. The Coffee Man Fridays has officially started, y'all. Because for y'all that don't know, I put up a poll earlier this week asking, should I start reacting to a Coffeehouse Crime video every Friday? And shockingly to me, y'all, like this is shocking to me, the poll got 41 votes. Now, I was expecting 15 to 20 votes, maybe at the most on the high end. So for 41 of y'all to vote on that poll, that was my first poll I ever put up. And it just let me know that some people are really out here rocking with me, man. Like, they really like when I do this. And apparently, they like when I watch the Coffee Man videos. Because the poll was 88% yes, 12% no. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, my brothers and sisters, this what y'all want me to do every Friday with y'all? This what we gonna do every Friday. But I digress. Hope y'all doing excelente out there today. And I'm glad that you came on back to the channel once again to fuck with the bean. And the title of this video is How a Cowardly Captain's Ego Killed 33 People. Now, we have watched videos on this channel about captains, you know what I'm saying, the captain of the ship, jumping off into a lifeboat. We have heard a couple of those stories, and one story that's sticking out to me that I remember right now is from Tragedy Tales. You know what I'm saying? He told about this damn captain, the first lifeboat, the damn the ship was sinking with hundreds of people on it, and he jumped on the first lifeboat. Why I keep saying lifeboat that he seen, man. And it's perfect. That title is perfect because it is so cowardly, dude. Like, if you the captain, you gotta go down with the ship. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it's other people on the ship who can't make it off. Like, me personally, just a quick example, y'all. Quick example before we get in the video, man. Because I want to illustrate what I'm really trying to say to y'all. So let's do this scenario. Let's say it's me and there's 100 other people out here. You know what I'm saying? It's me and 100 other people. And I have to choose either I die or these 100 other people die. I'm going to choose myself. And that is the 100% God honest truth. I'd be damned if I let myself live and then 100 people have to die. Like, I couldn't live with myself no more anyway. And that's kind of similar to how I think when these captains of some of these stories we have watched, they do that shit where they make sure they safe. And it was one story from that chapter with the like the hierarchy, and they had like kings and queens, or it was the government, and the government made sure all they family and friends got on the lifeboats, even though they end up dying too, I think most of them. But they made sure they self get on the lifeboats and left all the other people to die. You know what I'm saying, man? Like, I can't agree with that. I can't agree with that. And especially if you the captain, bro. Excuse me. A lot of times, all this shit fall up on you. You the captain. I'm getting excited, man. I'm starting to cough and all that. So we gonna go and get into the video. But before we get into it, my brothers and sisters, y'all know what y'all got to do is Friday. Thank God it is Friday. Get whatever you might need. Get what you need, please. The first official Coffee Man Friday. Y'all got what y'all need? Y'all ready to go? And let's fucking go.
The deplorable actions of Francesco Schettino, later known as Captain Coward, would cost the lives of 32 passengers and crew members. But despite his slew of detrimental misgivings, including a shocking affair, he would plead his innocence and even claim that he accidentally abandoned his ship. But how did this man let his arrogance and cowardice kill so many innocent passengers? This video looks at the events leading up to the tragic disaster of Costa Concordia, the captain's reaction, and the consequences left in his wake.
Time out before we even go in for any further. Bro, did he just say that he accidentally? How you accidentally, man? Ain't no accident with what you did. I'm already pissed off at him. I can see he gonna be full of a lot of freaking lies, y'all. This is a man of lies.
Welcome back to Coffeehouse Crime, folks. My name is Adrian, and I'm back today with another maritime disaster. Today, we're looking at the case of Captain Coward. Coffeehouse Crime's case of Captain Coward. There are way too many C's there, and an actual one too. Before we begin, this is your gentle reminder that I serve coffee and darkly fascinating stories. So if you like to caffeinate while you investigate, please consider subscribing. And now, with that said, please grab yourself a coffee, pull up a seat, and get ready for the deep dive. This is the case of Captain Coward.
Get whatever you may need.
Today, we find ourselves on the shoreline of Italy, the home of pizza, pasta, and the Roman civilization. Now, this is kind of obvious to say, but Italy is teeming with ancient history. The city of Rome has been around for almost 3,000 years, and Italy, well, it has more heritage sites than any other country. When people think of Italy, most of the attention goes towards its capital, Rome. And it's easy to see why, because the city is absolutely beautiful. But saying that, there is so much more to talk about when it comes to this country. For example, did you know that Italy has one of the oldest populations in the world? To the southwest of Rome's coast, and actually quite close to this story today, the island of Sardinia is one of the world's 5 recognized blue zones. That being a geographic area with the lowest rate of chronic disease and the longest life expectancy. Now, studies have found that genetics only play a 20 to 30% role in longevity, and the rest comes down to lifestyle and, more specifically, what you eat. Several studies, including one in over 500,000 people, have shown that avoiding red meat and processed meat can significantly reduce the risk of death from heart disease, cancer, and several other different causes. Although most groups are not strict vegetarians, they do only tend to eat meat around 5 times per month. And the people of Sardinia primarily eat a 95% plant-based diet. Now, personally, I'm not a vegetarian, but being open-minded, those figures certainly are food for thought.
This is food for thought, man. I just learned something new, y'all, and I gotta speak on it. I didn't know that there was certain people out here who only eat meat a certain time per month, like 5 times per month, like Adrian just said. Like, I thought either you got vegetarians or you got meat eaters. Me personally, I'm a meat eater. Even though sometimes, y'all, I ain't gonna lie, man, I be riding, like when I be going to work like early in the morning, a lot of time it be chicken trucks, like on my way to work. Like what I mean by chicken trucks, I'm talking, and y'all, some of y'all gonna know what I'm talking about, where you actually see the chickens and it look like it be like thousands of them or at least hundreds of them, all like locked up in these little cages. They still be alive because they be on the way to the chicken factory, the meat factory, to meet their demise. And in those moments, I do be like, damn, man, I really be eating like a live freaking animal out here. It kind of hit me a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But man, I doubt I would ever become a vegetarian. Never say never. But my main thing about this is, y'all, long story short, story long, I did not know there was certain people out here who only eat meat on, I don't want to say special occasions, but certain times of the month or whatever, on a type of schedule or whatever may have you. That was some food for thought, for real. Shout out to our boy Coffee, man.
What they get here is ample nutrition, and nutrition is something that I myself have been becoming further interested in as I get older. Now, in the recent months, I've been paying extra attention to not just my physical habits, but my nutritional habits too. And that is where AG1, our sponsor for today's video.
And here come the Coffee man with his commercial. Hey, he pulled a freaking mic from that chopped on us then. Like he eased off into that one. Shout out to the Coffee Man. Shout out to AG1 for supporting him. If y'all want to, support the Coffee Man, drink.ag1.com/Coffeehouse Crime. All right, let's take it back right here and let's go.
And by the way, speaking of Sardinia, there is one other island very close to it we must first talk about before getting into our case today. Found off the coast of Tuscany, Isola del Giglio is a tiny island in the Tyrrhenian Sea. Not even 10 square miles in size, not a lot happens on this small, sleepy island, despite its rich history. But in 2012, the island received international attention for all the wrong reasons. So, without further delay, let's talk about the man that caused all of this. Captain Coward, also known as Francesco Schettino. Raised in the seaside town of Castellammare di Stabia, Francesco always had a connection to the sea. It is situated in the Bay of Naples, and all residents base their lives around the ocean right before them. And his family relished the time they spent together swimming in the ocean, lounging on the nearby beaches, and enjoying the extraordinary southern Italian seafood. So, it was only natural after completing his primary education that Francesco looked towards the place he knew best for employment. He attended the Nautical Institute Nino Biscio in the nearby town of Piano di Sorrento, and while here, he learned the ins and outs of seafaring and managing a ship and its crew. After graduating from Nino Biscio, Francesco was hired by the ferry company Tirrenia, a privately owned Italian shipping company. The young man was responsible for facilitating the ferry services between Italy's mainland and its major surrounding islands. For many years, Francesco Schettino excelled in his industry. He was respected for his confidence and intuition, and after decades of working with Tirrenia, he knew his fleet like the back of his hand. But in April of 2002, and at the age of 41, his career would finally change course. It was at that moment that he was offered a job at the prestigious cruise ship company Costa Crociere. Francesco was to start as an official in charge of ship security, but with his experience, he was promised to move quickly up the ranks. And so, with that in mind, he accepted the job and quickly received recognition both from his co-workers and his crewmates. By his 4th year, Francesco was promoted to captain. And furthermore, he was given command of the crown jewel of the Italian cruise fleet, that being the prestigious and brand new Costa Concordia. At the time, this newly built ship was amongst the largest ships in Italian history. Weighing in at a staggering 114,000 tons, this vessel was unbelievably massive, and was capable of carrying thousands of passengers and crew members daily. Costa Concordia was built at breakneck speed within 2 years. At the vessel's launch in Sestri Ponente in September of 2005, spirits were extraordinarily high, as workers proudly looked at the Titan that they had managed to build. As per tradition in the maritime industry, a champagne bottle is smashed against the hull of a newly built ship in a weird sort of tradition to wish it good luck. It was Czech model Eva Herzegova that was the one to throw the bottle, but in a bad sign of things to come, it actually failed to smash. There's even a video of it right here. The bottle flung overboard, striking the exterior of the ship, but to the crowd's dismay, it failed to break.
Wow.
Now,
Oh, it's right. That's the first sign. That is the first sign that something is about to go wrong. I'm joking a little bit on that, man, but it is kind of crazy. It's mighty peculiar that y'all try to celebrate like the tradition goes, and the celebration ain't go right. So do y'all think the cruise gonna go right? Like, man, I don't know. But just looking at that ship and how massive it is, like, humans are amazing, man. Like, we can construct the hell out of some stuff, man. That freaking ship is massive and it's beautiful. But let's see how in the hell this man ended up causing these people to die.
while this may seem inconsequential to the average onlooker, it was considered to be a very bad omen to those involved with building the Costa Concordia. Seafarers know that, should a bottle fail to break during the christening of a new vessel, the ship and all of its passengers are sure to be cursed with bad luck. Now, despite the worrying start, the vessel was launched and Francesco was appointed captain. The company wanted a swift return for investment, and many happy cruises over the following years. Unfortunately, this marked the beginning of Francesco's rather sad downfall, because despite his confident demeanour, he was actually nowhere near as capable as he made himself out to be. It was in November of 2008 that Costa Concordia suffered significant damage to her bow when improper lashings in combination with high winds forced her hard against the dock. And then only 2 years later, while commanding the Costa Atlantica, he would also damage that ship while entering a port at reckless speeds. Now, you would think with so much onboard experience, Francesco would know how to avoid these rather basic issues. But the truth is, he would often let his ego talk over a sense of safety and responsibility. Being born on the water, trained at sea, and with over 25 years of experience, Francesco had a false sense of supremacy, and with such confidence came arrogance.
And see, he one of the worst type of people to be around, man, or to put your life in their hands. Like these type of people right here who they believe that they know it all, they know all, they know all the end all, and that nobody else can suggest this to them. Like they don't pay attention to it. Like, no, I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for so long. I got this, and just dismissing all other people's opinions and stuff. Like, I feel like everybody should love at least constructive criticism. You know what I'm saying? At least constructive information to try to help you better yourself. But people like him is the type that they won't even listen to none of that. Like, no, you wrong. You just a hater. I know what I'm doing. You just talking bad about me. I got it. And long story short, story long, at the end of the day, most of these people do not got it.
On January the 13th, 2012, the Costa Concordia departed the Roman port of Civitavecchia for a 7-night cruise. At departure, there was an official headcount of 4,229 people. Francesco felt relaxed as the Costa Concordia left its port. Now, despite being married to an Italian woman and having a young daughter, Francesco had a rather special passenger on board with him, that being a Moldovan model and dancer named Domnica Camorta. Of course, she was the captain's special crewmate for 7 nights, meaning that she wasn't spending a single dime while on board. You can probably see where this is going. Shortly after departure, the decision was made to perform a sail-by salute for the people on the nearby island of Giglio. Now, this practice dates way back to ancient times, and in Italy especially, it is not uncommon for sailboats and cruise ships alike to maneuver close to the shorelines to perform these salutes. With his Moldovan partner by his side, Captain Francesco left the bridge for dinner, while First Officer Kiro Ambrosio slowed the ship down and prepared to pass by the coastline. And although this was not included in the itinerary, Francesco had multiple reasons to sail by salute. To begin with, his mentor Mario Palombo currently lived on the island, and the ship's head waiter named Antonino Tiavoli was born there too. And of course, with his new guest on his arm, he jumped at the opportunity to flex his command over the ship. As Francesco dined with his guest, the crew heeded his command and adjusted the course accordingly. And almost 1 hour later, the captain and his guest returned to the bridge after their meal. After returning, Francesco briefly consulted with the first officer about how close the ship could safely travel past the island. And after hearing a rather unsatisfactory answer, he then turned off the ship's computer navigation system and relied on his own personal experience instead.
See what I'm saying? This what I was just talking about earlier, y'all. These type of people, they don't believe nobody else, man. Like he don't, the damn computer showing you how close you potentially could get to this island or this land or whatever, and you don't like that answer from the freaking computer, so you shut it off and you still go with your brain. Like these people, is superiority complex the right word? That's the wrong terminology, y'all. Somebody let me know down in the comments. But y'all know what I'm saying. It's like he got a superiority complex or a know-it-all complex. I know it all, and damn, even the freaking AI can't tell me right from wrong. Even the calculator can't tell me 1 + 1 = 2. Like, that's how these people think, y'all. Man, he is the wrong person to be the captain of a freaking ship.
Now, the ship was already on a direct course to the island. Now, it's important to note that at this time, the ship was travelling at 16 knots, which was much faster than it should have, in order to make up time lost for the captain having dinner with his guest. A captain who was further distracted on the bridge while he attempted to entertain his affair. Despite the abundance of depth and distance sensors on board, Francesco had turned all of them off to rely on his vision alone instead. He was navigating a massive vessel in the darkness, while simultaneously being preoccupied with the mistress in his arms. After ordering the helmsman to turn the ship starboard, lining it up with Giglio's harbour, Francesco realised that the vessel was, in fact, much closer to the island than he initially thought. And after seeing a rocky outcrop beneath the water to the ship's left, he then ordered the helmsman to turn the vessel even harder. But by now, it was already too late. With the Costa Concordia turning drastically to the right, he then realised he made yet another fatal mistake. Although the front of the ship missed those jagged rocks, the rear side would go straight into them. To all of the passengers on board, nothing initially seemed amiss, with most of them enjoying the 5 restaurants, Turkish spas, and pool and spa. But that is when they were suddenly shocked to hear a loud bang coming from the hull, followed by the ear-splitting screech of grinding metal. All of a sudden, the ship shook and swayed massively, with food and glasses spilling off the tables. Meanwhile, passengers fell to the floor like dominoes. The result was utter chaos. Due to Francesco's error, the ship had struck a reef of rock known as the Skull, located about 2,600 feet away from the port of Giglio. The Costa Concordia made contact with the rocks 26 feet below the waterline, gouging 2 massive sheets of metal out of the ship's hull, and leaving behind a massive boulder the size of a car wedged into the side. Seawater rushed into the vessel, flooding the engine and the generator rooms.
Adrian just said the hole was as big as the size of a freaking car. Jesus Louises. And just 2 mistakes that he just getting on my nerve with just shows that he had no idea he should have never been no fucking captain of no fucking ship. The number 1 mistake was him turning right, trying to avoid the rocks. But dude, you on this long ass ship, so when you turning, the tail end of it gonna still get to that point of them rocks. Like, bro, you should freaking know that. Are you freaking kidding me, man?
The lights on board flickered ominously before going out altogether, sending all passengers on board into a panic. Fortunately, the ship was ready for a moment like this, with the emergency lights flickering on moments later. Finally, passengers and the crew were able to get their bearings in the dim lights. Meanwhile, up on the bridge, Captain Francesco Schettino was beginning to realize the magnitude of his mistake. The chief engineer down below alerted Francesco that massive amounts of seawater were quickly flooding the engine room and would soon overcome the engine control rooms. Now, to illustrate...
First of all, let me go back to because I said the 1 mistake. Let me say the second mistake real quick too, y'all. It's the fact that I feel like any captain out here manning a ship, especially this size and capacity with all these people's lives that you hold and count in your hands, so to speak, you should know the geography of what you traveling around. Like, I bet that dude never even knew that reef exists. I can't remember the name of the reef, but I bet he didn't even know the damn reef existed. Or if he did, he probably had his superiority complex, or like how I like to call it, I know it all complex, and he just ignored it. But it's just, man, this is what I'm doing right now, just watching them clips. Can you imagine being in this situation, y'all? Like, you know how I love to try to put ourselves in the shoes of those people on that ship and seeing that water start to come in and stuff. Man, dude, that's why I'm not, I'll put it this way. I'm not going to totally rule out that I'm going to get on a plane one day or a ship, because I have never been on either one of them. Well, I have been on some little boats, but I'm talking about an actual ship like this. You know what I'm saying? I have never done it before, and I'm not going to rule it out that I never would do it. But if I had to make a choice between one of the two, I would choose the ship first. But just imagine being those people right now while that ship going down like that. Terrifying, man.
illustrate, the lower portion of the ship was divided into 16 huge compartments. Most of the machinery and resources were stored here, all required to keep the boat buoyant and sailing. But if 4 of the 16 were to flood, it was very possible that the ship would then capsize. By 9:45 p.m, the Costa Concordia began to list or tilt towards the port, a direct result of the water that continued to rush in to the bottom of the vessel. And despite the grave developments, all crew members were still unaware of what they were dealing with. While crew members reassured passengers, Francesco called the Costa Cruises Operations Center to inform them that one of the compartments in the ship was flooding. In reality, he already knew that it was actually 5. The Italian Coast Guard was also informed of the disaster, not from Francesco himself, but from guests on board. And obviously, needing to find out more information, the Coast Guard contacted the Costa Concordia's bridge. Under strict order from Captain Francesco, Navigation Officer Simone Canessa told the Coast Guard that the ship was merely dealing with an electrical blackout and had the situation under control. It was
Okay, time out now. This dude got me so fucking pissed off right now till I don't even want to get all animated about the shit. Because he is sitting up here literally lying and he got thousands of people's lives in danger right now. This man told that man to say that we having goddamn blackout situation, our lights going out when your damn ship is sinking. That right there show me, forget the damn superior complex, whatever the fuck I had said earlier. Forget the I know it all complex. He got a I don't care, I'm a evil mother and I don't care who dies complex. Let's just go, y'all. Let's go.
At this moment that the Coast Guard asked the ship if they needed assistance, and diabolically, Francesco ordered Simone to say no. Now, Simone felt extremely pressured to lie in the face of a dangerous situation, and it's almost understandable. Much like the military, a ship's staff are organized into a strict hierarchical structure, and regardless of what an individual crewmate thinks, they must follow their superior's command. Anything otherwise would be considered mutiny. It is likely that the crew on the bridge of Costa Concordia that night were aware of the problem they were facing, and it's also likely that some even knew their captain was not managing the situation well. However, due to their hierarchy, they could do nothing but obey. At this point, the onboard computer system was completely down. Screens were nothing more than black mirrors, and the crew could not fire up the engines. The ship was now adrift without any power, and so in a feeble attempt to lock its position, Francesco put the anchors down. But at a depth so shallow, even these failed. At 10:26 p.m, the Coast Guard reinstated contact to ask for an update. And now, only 45 minutes after the ship's fatal collision, were they informed that water was coming in. Simultaneously, Francesco called the Costa Cruise Operations Center to let them know that 2 compartments were flooded, and that, furthermore, he was steering the ship towards Giglio Island. In reality though, Francesco already knew that he had entirely lost control, and that the ship was just aimlessly drifting towards the jagged coastline. You know, what I find insane is that despite all of these mistakes already, and an hour of lying to the authorities, he would continue to dig this hole.
Man, okay, fuck the damn me not getting mad and all that, bro. This is fucking insane, like the coffee man just said, dude. He is lying so hard and he got all these people's lives in danger. Like, dude, why are you sitting up here lying and acting like everything all good or it's not as serious as it really is? Lying and saying you got 2 holes, you got 1 hole, when in actuality you got 5. Lying and saying, goddamn, that the light's turning off and that's it. When you got a hole as big as a goddamn car in your damn ship right now. When the bottom of your damn ship is pretty much underwater. Why the fuck is this man lying like this? And them damn his hierarchy or the people under him who was enabling this lie, they ass need to be held accountable too, goddammit. Cause ain't no way in the hell, I don't give a fuck if you my captain, my boss, my supervisor, my manager, I don't give a fuck. If I know not only just my life in danger, but there's thousands of people on this motherfucker who life in danger, I'm not finna get on this damn telephone or whatever they was using and tell fucking lies that gon' just further, like Coffee Man just said, put all our life in danger. This is insane, man. I'm sorry, y'all. Hey, man, I tried to hold it together, but this is fucking insane. This dude here, man, he the worst of the worst.
At 10:28 p.m, the Italian Coast Guard broadcasted an emergency call for all nearby boats to route towards Giglio Island to help with the rescue. By now, the ship had finally stopped in Punta del Gavianara, and shockingly, Captain Francesco had left his bridge. The atmosphere was thick with confusion, and a lack of leadership left many crew members unaware of the severity of the situation. Some crew directed life rafts into the water, while others instructed passengers to return to their cabins. It was only half an hour later, and minutes before 11 p.m, that whistles announced the official deployment of lifeboats. With over 3,000 passengers and 1,000 crew members uncertain about what to do, Second-in-Command Roberto Bossio initiated an early evacuation, which was considered to be mutiny, but prioritized onboard safety. However, with the Costa Concordia listing starboard, it made it extremely challenging to lower life rafts properly. In a desperate situation, some passengers even jumped into the water and swam towards the coastline. All in the meanwhile, rescue ships successfully launched on the other side. Passengers used various means to evacuate, including climbing down ropes, jumping into rescue boats, swimming, and paddling life rafts to shore. The absence of clear leadership led to an extremely chaotic evacuation, with the tumultuous emotions of fear and confusion hindering the process. Over 2 hours later, more than half of the crew and passengers had safely arrived in Giglio's port. At 12:42 a.m, Gregorio De Falco, who was in charge of Coast Guard rescue operations, contacted Captain Francesco to ask him where he was. Francesco revealed that apparently he had left his ship by mistake, accidentally falling into the lifeboat, which had now made its way to Giglio Harbor.
Hold on, time out. I ain't know he said he accidentally fell into the lifeboat. I thought he was just saying he accidentally left the ship. You accidentally fell into a lifeboat, bro? Come on, man. And I done calmed down a little bit, y'all, even though I'm still like boiling on the inside. But I do want to just say this, that it is great that they actually made it to land and was able to get all these people off before. Like, they went in the middle of the ocean when this ship just started sinking to the bottom. So majority of people's lives were saved, man. And this man here, he could have had everybody on this damn ship killed. But thank God that a lot of these people's lives were saved. But 33 people still lost their lives because of a fucking... Let's just go. I don't even want to talk about it.
Absolutely outraged by the response, Gregorio demanded Francesco to return to the ship, but the captain insisted that he was no longer able to and could do the operation from his rock. Over the next 4 hours, ships and helicopters alike rescued the remaining passengers. By 5 a.m, the evacuation was declared to be complete. At that moment, Marco Brusco, who was the head of the Coast Guard, announced that 35 individuals were still unaccounted for, that including 29 passengers and 6 crew members. All was not lost yet though, because despite these challenges, divers would still discover multiple survivors. This included a South Korean couple who seemed to sleep through the entire ordeal, and a crew member who was trapped by a broken leg was also discovered. With these 3 miraculously surviving, the official death toll from the Costa Concordia concluded at 32, that sadly being 27 passengers and 5 crew members. Tragically, 1 salvage member would also die during rescue efforts, finalizing the death toll at 33. From January the 14th through to the 30th, Italian Navy Coast Guard and Fire and Rescue Service divers meticulously searched the partially submerged ship for any remaining survivors. As expected, the task was dangerous due to the hazardous conditions within the vessel. The dark, maze-like hallways were filled with floating furniture, suitcases, and personal belongings. Divers worked in pairs, navigating the twisted, claustrophobic corridors using cave lines. By January the 31st, 22 bodies had been recovered. After a 2-week rescue operation, the ship was declared to be lifeless, and with 33 deaths on his hands, Francesco had a lot of explaining to do. But before we focus on the now infamous Captain Coward, let's first look at what happened to the ship. With the ship now empty, workers could begin dismantling the Costa Concordia. But with the vessel's oil tankers inside, they first had to remove them in order to protect the wildlife. Nearly 24 tons of heavy fuel oil had to be extracted over a 2-month time period, and by the end of March, the ship was declared to be free of toxic oil. The next step of the operation was to refloat and then tow the Costa Concordia. This ended up costing more than $1.2 billion and would take over 2 years to complete. An extensive operation reverted the ship to its upright position, and from there, it was refloated and towed to Genoa in early 2014. Ready for scrapping, it took 3 years to remove, organize and recycle 53,000 tons of metal. For comparison, this is around 2.5 times the material of the Titanic. Describing the cleanup efforts as monumental would be an understatement. The comprehensive process involved refloating, towing, scrapping, and restoring the crash site, spanning 6 years and costing nearly $2 billion. Once the disaster was resolved, attention turned to the passengers, who, of course, were among the most affected. Following the recovery of 32 bodies and the identification of 64 injuries, the Costa Cruise Enterprise announced a compensation package on January the 27th, 2012. To all people who were uninjured, they received €11,000 per person to cover lost belongings and travel expenses. As for those injured and the families of those deceased, they were compensated based on their specific circumstances. The public reaction was swift as news coverage revealed the chaos on board the Costa Concordia. Passengers had documented the unfolding events, exposing the widespread confusion and disarray in the video footage, of course all of which prompting shock around the world. Perhaps inevitable, but questions arose about the handling of the ordeal. The spotlight immediately fell on Francesco Schettino, the man in charge with 3 decades of maritime experience, including 11 years with Costa Cruises. This man was expected to be the figure responsible for ensuring the safety of all passengers. As information leaked to the press, his mistakes would become obvious for the entire world to see. However, despite this, he would not give the admission of guilt that people were expecting.
6 months later, the infamous captain is finally speaking.
There is no scale for measuring the pain.
Francesco Schettino offers condolences, but then says he became a victim in this calamity, clearly resenting the Captain Coward label that has hounded him because he abandoned the ship as it was sinking.
I was more or less forced to go into the lifeboat. I don't know if I slipped or fell.
Schettino takes every opportunity to duck responsibility, including for hitting the reef.
I did not have command. Navigation was in the hands of an officer.
But damning evidence shows he was in command. An Italian newspaper has published the contents of the ship's black box data recorder. It shows Schettino took the helm 6 minutes before the collision. He does now admit he was on the phone at that critical moment.
I blame myself for being distracted.
What about the 1-hour delay in calling for help and ordering passengers to abandon ship? He insists he should be seen as a hero, that he saved lives because he waited till the ship drifted to shallower waters.
Ultimately, his actions revealed nothing but cowardice and incompetence.
Man, goddamn, how much full of yourself and how much just full of shit you gotta be to even utter all these words that he just said then? Like, he have no compassion, man. He want to claim he the victim. Some kind of way he fell into the ship, or he slipped into the lifeboat, or slipped into the lifeboat, and that we should thank him for saving the people he did. Man, then we know he lying. There's evidence from the black box, bro. You was the one controlling this ship. You the reason that this ship hit that damn reef. He don't have no type of accountability or nothing. Man, I hope this man go to prison for life, y'all. I hope that's how this story end, man. Let's see.
Eventually, the Italian media managed to obtain the phone calls made between Francesco and Gregorio, and the nation listened in disbelief as Francesco, through the phone, stubbornly fed misinformation to Gregorio and adamantly refused to return to his sinking vessel.
Senta, io sono De Falco da Livorno, parlo col comandante? Sì, buonasera, comandante Falco, mi dica il suo nome, per favore. Il comandante Schettino, comandante. Schettino? Sì. Ascolti Schettino, ci sono persone intrappolate a bordo, adesso lei va con la sua scialuppa sotto la prua della nave, lato dritto, c'è una biscaggina. Lei sale su quella biscaggina e va a bordo della nave. Va a bordo della nave e mi viene a dire, mi riporta quante persone ci sono. È chiaro? Io sto registrando questa comunicazione, comandante Schettino. Allora, comandante, le dico una cosa. Parli a voce alta. Allora, la nave adesso, io sono qua di fronte... Comandante, parli a voce più alta, metta la mano davanti al microfono e parla a voce alta. Chiaro? Con la scialuppa, fallo venire un attimo, fallo venire qua. Comandante, allora, in questo momento la nave è inclinata. Ho capito. C'è gente, ascolti, c'è gente che sta scendendo dalla biscaggina di prua. Lei quella biscaggina la percorre in senso inverso, sale sulla nave e mi dice quante persone e che cosa hanno a bordo, chiaro? Mi dice se ci sono bambini, donne o persone bisognose di assistenza e me ne dice il numero di ciascuna di queste categorie, è chiaro? Guardi Schettino che lei si è salvato forse dal mare, ma io la porto veramente molto male, faccio passare l'anima dei guai. Vado a bordo, cazzo! Comandante.
Bro, this dude is spitting right now. Like, he is going off on Francisco, the Captain Cowley ass, man. Get your ass back on that ship and let us know the situation, how many people are here. You are the captain, dude. You are the captain. Your life in this situation matters way less than anybody else who are on this ship. You are the leader of this freaking ship. Get your ass back up there and try to help people. Try to make this a better situation than it is. Report back to us. Do something other than sitting right there while you waiting and watching and seeing people struggle to survive. Like, come on, man. Shout out to whoever this dude is who going off on Captain Cowley right now. Shout out to him.
Per cortesia. No, per cortesia, lei adesso prende e va a bordo. Mi assicuri che sta andando a bordo. Io sto andando qua con la lancia dei soccorsi, sono sotto qua, non sono andato da nessuna parte, sono qua. Che sta facendo, comandante? Sto qua per coordinare i soccorsi. Che sta coordinando lì? Vado a bordo, mi coordini i soccorsi da bordo. Lei si rifiuta? No, non mi sto rifiutando. Lei si sta rifiutando di andare a bordo, comandante? No, sto andando. E mi dica qual è il motivo per cui non ci va. Sto andando perché ci sta l'altra lancia che si è fermata. Lei vada a bordo, è un ordine. Lei non deve fare altre valutazioni. Lei ha dichiarato l'abbandono nave. Adesso comando io. Lei vada a bordo. È chiaro? Comandante. Non mi sente? Sto andando a bordo. Vada. Mi chiami immediatamente da bordo. C'è il mio aerosoccorritore lì. Dove sta il suo soccorritore? Il mio soccorritore sta a prua. Avanti. Ci sono già dei cadaveri, Schettino. Avanti. Quanti cadaveri ci sono? Non lo so. Uno l'ho sentito. Me lo devi dire lei quanti ce ne sono, Cristo. Però ma ti rende conto che è buio e che qua non vediamo nulla? E che vuole tornare a casa, Schettino? È buio, vuole tornare a casa? Salga sulla prua della nave tramite la biscaggina e mi dica cosa si può fare, quante persone ci sono e che bisogno hanno. Ora! Comandante, sono il comandante in seconda. Come? Sono assieme al comandante in seconda qui. Salite tutte e due allora. Tutte e due, come si chiama il secondo? Come si chiama il secondo? Dimitri. Dimitri cosa? Dimitri Cristidis. Lei e il suo secondo salite a bordo, ora, è chiaro? Ora io voglio salire a bordo, semplicemente che l'altra scialuppa qua, ci sono gli altri soccorritori, si è fermata e si è alla deriva. Adesso ho chiamato altri soccorritori. Lei è un'ora che mi sta dicendo questo, adesso va a bordo e mi viene a dire, e mi viene subito a dire quante persone ci sono. Va bene comandante, sto andando. Vada, subito.
Man, I just gotta say one more time, shout out to that dude, man. Like, shout out to him. He was on the Cowley captain ass about getting back on that ship. And man, just listening to all that, y'all. The Captain Cowley, Francisco, he is a PAB. Now I'm not. That's an acronym. Y'all know what I'm saying. He is a. You know what I'm saying? I don't even want to say it because I be trying to watch my words a little bit now, y'all, because YouTube do be like paying attention to that shit. But they do though, man. They be paying attention to the words and stuff, and there's certain stuff that they pay attention to even more than other stuff. I just leave it at that, man. But he is one of them PABs though. And Jesus Christ, bro, just you know people dying and you the cause of it. And you still, at the end of the day, don't give up. Let's finish it up.
To say that his reputation was tarnished is definitely an understatement. Officially nicknamed Captain Coward or Captain Calamity, the general public hated him for his terrible behavior. I mean, we have a man who killed 33 people through his arrogance, abandoned a ship through his cowardice, and then lied about all of it. All in the meanwhile, being caught with his pants down through an affair. By the time his trial wrapped up, Francesco was referred to as Italy's most hated man, and he himself claimed he was the victim of a media meat grinder. Francesco's trial began in December of 2014. He was accused of 32 counts of manslaughter, causing a maritime accident, abandoning ship with passengers on board, and a lack of cooperation with rescue operations. The crowd inside was massive, with more than 250 co-plaintiffs and 400 witnesses. Alongside Francesco's trial, 5 other Costa employees stood separate trials for their own offences, these ranging from manslaughter right through to negligence. After taking separate plea deals, jail sentences ranging from 18 months to nearly 3 years were handed out to all 5 employees. But Francesco Schettino was a different story, and despite his lawyers claiming that he was being unfairly made into a scapegoat, his plea deal was immediately denied. Francesco maintained that, despite the accident, his actions had saved many lives after the ship hit that rocky outcrop. Captain Coward would further blame defective generators and the flooding of compartments for aggravating the situation. His lawyer also argued that these malfunctions were the ones responsible for the majority of their fatalities. In the end, Francesco Schettino was sentenced to 16 years in prison after the 19-month trial. The verdict was comprised of 10 years for manslaughter, 5 years for causing the shipwreck, and 1 year for abandoning his passengers, all to be served consecutively. Not only did his actions ruin his professional career, they also ruined his marriage, his family life, and the lives of all those injured and deceased. This story is a brutal example of what can happen when a bad mixture of ego and incompetence combine, resulting in the deaths of many, and one of the worst cruise ship disasters in nautical history. According to reports, Francesco Schettino should be released from prison in the year 2033, meaning he still has 9 years behind bars. Before you go today, let me know what you think about this story. Do you think Captain Coward received the time he deserved behind bars?
No.
If not, what sort of punishment would you have given him? Thank you so much for watching today, folks. I really do appreciate you being here. And thank you to AG1 for sponsoring today's video. I'll leave a link in the description down below. And also, I'll be doing a Q&A soon too, so if you have a question for me, please check out my community post. And finally, if you want to support me in the channel or be part of the exclusive Q&A, then please check out my Patreon. Alternatively, if you want to follow me in my adventures, check out my social media, most notably my Instagram. Thank you again for watching, folks, and as always, I'll see you again very soon for another one. Until that moment arrives though, remember to look after yourself, look after each other, and of course, stay safe. Thank you, and goodbye.
I knew it, y'all. I knew it, my brothers and sisters. I knew we was gonna end up, well, I'm just speaking for me personally. I knew I was gonna end up disappointed in this. Like, I knew that he was not gonna get the sentencing that I wanted. Cause like I said, man, you already know me. I feel like that dude should get life in prison, Adrian. I'll answer your question, my brother. Adrian, that dude should have got life in prison, man. Point blank period. 16 fucking years. So how does this even equate? Let's just do some math on this or something, man. Let's try to even do some math on it. 33 people died from this. All because of you. All because of you. But you get 16 years. So that's like, what? Half a freaking year for every person? You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, bro, what the fuck, man? Like, one person life not even worth a year for you in prison. It would have been better if they said 33 years. Y'all get what I'm saying? Even though that still don't work out for me, but at least sound a little better, man. Getting a year for each person, that sound better than getting half a year for each person. Y'all get what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. But it's just me. Or at the very least, I would have probably been satisfied if he would have got like 45 to life. Like, if he would have got something to life, like 50 to life, or you know what I'm saying, something to life or something like that. But just to get 16 years and that's just it, like, oh my God, bro, this man gonna be out in 2033. I'm tripping. I can't even say that word. 2033, because it's so far in the future, but it's really not far in the future, my brothers and sisters. It will be 2033 before we all know it, man. It will be 9 years from now before we all freaking know it, y'all. Like, y'all know how time moves, and that is not enough time in freaking prison for what he did. This dude is one of the most don't give a damn about nobody else or what they say, and I'ma lie and I'ma be a PAB and I'm just gonna live in this like bubble of mine where I rule the world type ish, like how he thinking, like, cause no matter what y'all tell me, I'm still gonna do what I wanna do, how I wanna do it, no matter how many people lives in jeopardy. Like, this dude, he one of those type, y'all. This was another great video from the Coffee Man, y'all. This was a great way to start off the Coffee Man Fridays. But I digress. I ain't gonna go no longer, y'all. I ain't gonna go no longer. We have been here long enough. Just make sure y'all hit that like button, y'all comment, subscribe, and come on back tomorrow, because it is time once again, my friends, to go to AJ from the Wi-Fi House. But until tomorrow, y'all know, y'all gotta remember this. Love, peace, and happiness. Stay safe. Don't stop. Keep going. Yeah.